So we're going to start new canto, canto 3 of the fourth book, the call to the quest. Now the previous canto ended with the suggestive lines of what is going to happen. The last sentence of the previous canto is a single lamp lit in a perfection's house, a bright pure image in a priestless shrine. Alone amid surrounding crowds she dwelt, apart in herself until her hour of fate. Now, the 3 or 4 suggestions have already been dropped here, hints that she is single lamp, then there is no priest in the shrine, and among the crowd there is none coming forward, and waiting for the hour of fate. So each line is loaded with a suggestive idea, and it is that now which is being carried forward. Single lamp, obviously, it means that another lamp should burn now. If the shrine is priestless, without the priest there, the priest should come there and worship the goddess there. And hour of fate, hour of meeting, at the same time, the divine hour of the significant death. All those things are suggested already in that one single line, hour of fate. Now, therefore, the new canto, canto 3, the call to the quest, begins again, taking the trend forward in another manner. A morn that seemed a new creation's front. That is also connected in a way to the hour of fate for which he is waiting. A morn that seemed a new creation's front, bringing a greater sunlight, happier skies, came, burdened with a beauty, moved and strange, out of the changeless origin of things. Now, the lines here are not giving us any immediate clue what they are referring to, see. But you see, I mean, in the background of the whole development, we can perhaps make out what is being suggested here. A morn that seemed a new creation's front. Morn, the beginning of a new creation. New creation would mean that the single lamp which is going to be was burning there will find also along with it another lamp, and it is that which will bring the new creation forward. In other words, the new creation can begin only with the meeting of Satyavan and Savitri, and the hint is already drawn in that direction that this is the beginning. It seemed the same in new creation's front, bringing a greater sunlight. Obviously, their meeting would mean a brighter day, a greater sunlight, a happier skies. Again, obvious. That is reiterative of the same thing. Light and skies, happier skies, came burdened with a beauty, moved and strange, out of the changeless originating thing. Until now, things were not changing in the sense that they were static. Things were not going forward. The progress was not being made at all. So it is in that context of a change which must come that the new dawn, new morn is arriving here. See, I mean, he is already telling us that the meeting of Satyavan and Savitri would mean the beginning of a new creation. And it is towards that the poet is preparing the system. Out of the changeless origin of things, they were static until now, and they had to move forward. Now, why? Because an ancient longing struck again new roots. This was happening over and over again previously through the ages, but the new morn was not coming. Now it seemed that a new morn will come. Now the point here is why this description, why this canto at all, the call to the quest. Let me give a little background about the story we have in the Mahabharata and how he has introduced the theme and how Sri Savitri is going to introduce that theme. In the Mahabharata story, Savitri has grown up to the marriageable age and she must be given in marriage. And as we have been seeing, that no one was coming forward to claim her hand in marriage. So on one particular occasion, what is called Parvani means an auspicious full moon day, full moon night. On that day, some kind of special worship is performed, and Savitri takes a holy bath. She goes to the temple, offers flowers and fruits and things like that to the deity in the temple there. And then when you come back from the temple, you carry a prasad, some present, carry the prasad and flowers from the temple. So Savitri is doing that kind of a thing. She has gone to the temple, she has picked up the prasad, and she goes back to the palace. And then there she gives the flowers and prasad to her father, Ashwapati, he offers it. And at that time, Ashwapati, so to say, realizes that, oh, this girl, she must be given marriage. That is what has happened. And then at that time, he tells her, look, Savitri, nobody has come to claim your hand. So now you are free to choose your own life's partner. You go to different places, wherever you want to go, and find out one who is suitable, who is worthy of your status and worthy of your qualities and all that. And let us know that thing. Be careful in making your choice. Otherwise, it's also like that. And Savitri then sets on a long journey in search of a life's partner. So that is how the story kind of introduces this event. Here, Shebendhu is introducing in a different manner the event. The way in which he is introducing it, here in this particular canto, what we are here is suddenly the appearance of Ashwapati. Ashwapati is absorbed in his spiritual bearings, or what you want to call it, his spiritual, and then on one particular occasion he receives some kind of a command, a voice. He hears that voice, a sort of a narration, and he absorbs that thing in his soul. And in response to that, then he tells Savitri, Savitri, you go and find out your own life's partner. It is not Savitri who goes and gives prasad and flowers to her husband, but Ashwapati receives some sort of a command, indication, adesh in his inner soul, and then he tells to his daughter. So now the first part of this canto here, section, is Ashwapati getting absorbed in a trance, and the whole preparation is for that purpose, you see. So therefore, an ancient longing struck again new roots. This ancient longing, it is the seed which is sown in the tapasya, in the soul of of Ashwapati. It is that, you see. And in that sense, he is preparing us from that angle. An ancient longing struck again new roots. The air drank deep of unfulfilled desire. Unfulfilled desire obviously is an indicative again that nothing was happening. Savitri is not finding her life partner, and therefore it was unfulfilled desire of the ancient longing, you see. The high trees trembled with the wandering wind. like souls that quiver at the approach of joy. And in a bosom of green secrecy, forever of its one love note untired, a lyric coil cried among the leaves. He is describing the forest scene. The bird is there, coil, in amid the green secrecy, in the secrecy of the forest, the coil is singing. Now, obviously, this is the indication of Savitri going to find out her partner. This Koel is none but her life's partner, Satyavan, you see, in that sense. And he is residing in the green secrecy, in the bosom of green secrecy. Forever of his one love note untired, he keeps on singing, singing, singing through the ages. A lyric Koel cried among the leaves. Away from the terrestrial murmur turned, where transient calls and answers mix their flood. King Ashwapati listened to the ray to other sounds than meet the sense-formed ear. Now, this is again a very deep line, very occult line of a different nature altogether. See, away from the terrestrial murmur turn, Ashwapati is absorbed in his own meditation. Where transient cause and answers mix the flood. This is what happens where murmur in our life. We are always mixing up every kind of transient thing, mix and flood. King Ashwapati, in spite of all these activities, King Ashwapati is listening through the ray, to the light, other sounds that than meet the sense-formed ear. Now this is significant, sense-formed ear. Ear which is formed by the senses. It is the necessity of hearing which has given rise to the ear. It is not that the ear hears. It is for hearing an apparatus, a tool is made, that is the ear. So it is the sense. Basically, the psychology is now we have one prime sense, manasa, and all the other five senses are the products of the main sense, manasa. So eyes, ears, smell, all the five things, sight, sound, taste, perfume, touch, these are the senses. Now these senses had their birth in our faculty of manasa, and it is from that manasa the organs, physical organs are built, and it is they that is all. In other words, it is not the eye which sees, it is the eye which has been created by the sense of sight which sees. Manasa means mind, mental, yeah, mental. See, we are mental beings. So it is that mental faculty which creates the organs of perception. Our organs of cognition are actually the product of the mental being. Beyond manasa, there are other higher faculties. Sadhyana means it is by that you have deeper senses of perception. The whole hierarchy of perceptions is there, and here on the physical level, it is the manasa which is projecting on the physical plane. Sadhyana is, see, for instance, when you are saying, I see an object, there are two things there. First thing is, I am throwing light on the object and then getting something by way of that object, information which is created in my mind. I am trying to hear, I am trying to see it. The other way is, it is the object which is throwing light on you and telling you, yes, I am like this, I am this, I am this, I am this. So the object gives you the knowledge if you are perceptive. Otherwise, you try to gather the object from the knowledge. The scientific method is to gather the knowledge from the object. But no faculty is there with us to see what the object is going to tell us. If that faculty opens up, then we have the truer knowledge of the objective world. So that goes beyond the faculty of manasa, or the mental being. And it is that which we have to acquire. Intuition, for instance, is one way of looking at it, you see. Revelation, you suddenly get something without your knowing things like that. If you are open, if you are perceptive enough, you suddenly get inspiration. The poets get, the artist gets. It comes from somewhere else. Something is there in you which receives it directly. So it is the object which tells us. In the philosophical language, this is what Sri Aurobindo has described in great detail. There are two faculties. One is called the apprehending consciousness, and the other one is the comprehending consciousness. You comprehend a thing. You throw something of yours and comprehend the thing. Apprehending is what the object is transmitting to you, that you apprehend, you catch, you absorb. The object is, yes, I am like this, I am like this. That you catch, that you apprehend. And comprehending means you are trying to see and extract something from the object to understand the nature of the object. So, apprehending and comprehending, these are the two faculties which are separate in us. When the faculty of supermind arrives, then it has simultaneously, at once, both the faculties of apprehension and comprehension. It is supermind alone who can do both simultaneously. It tells what the object is, and it also knows what the object is. Yeah, so that is quite far away. But here, therefore, you see, when that kind of a faculty opens, your organs will also be created accordingly. In our present case, it is the sense which has created these organs of perception, you see.
I would have more expected that the senses would be associated with the vital plane rather than mental plane.
No, we are mental beings. You see, the vital has its own perception. Animal, birds, they have their own perception. But as the comprehension and the rationalization of that thing is a mental faculty. Is a mental.
Pure senses?
Pure senses are not with us. Our pure sense is maximum mind, mental, manas. That is the purest sense. Of the manas, the five senses are the instruments. And the physical instruments are these things, you see. So it is that manas which has, when man was created, so to say, it means that it is that faculty which has been built into his biology.
To take the nose of a dog or the ears, which are so much more refined than human instruments.
Yeah, but then certain faculties can be in certain manner. It's always there, of course. Yeah, but it's only that the wideness, the width, other dimensions which are required, they are not there. You see.
Would that be manas of the dog?
Manas, well, you see, it's the vital mind. It's the vital mind which perceives that. Vital mind which perceives that. You see. You know, obviously, they have their own faculties too. But in the case of man, all these faculties of manasa are fully developed. They are the mental man's faculties. So, therefore, it says sense formed ear. That is a very significant. It is here. It is not something else. It is this ear that also is hearing. You see, brain. It's not brain which thinks. Brain is a repository of receiving thoughts. Thoughts come from somewhere else. That also we'll see shortly. The air drank deep of unfulfilled desire. The high trees trembled with the wandering wind, like souls that quiver at the approach of joy. And in a bosom of green secrecy, forever of its one love note untired, a lyric coil cried among the leaves. Away from the terrestrial murmur, turned where transient calls and answers mix their flood. So Ashwapati is retiring from the active life, it seems. Active occupation. King Ashwapati. You see, he is using the word King Ashwapati here. He is not simply saying Ashwapati, because Ashwapati is engaged in all the worldly activities in the sense that he has to govern the kingdom, rule the kingdom. He has to look after the daily affairs of the world, of the kingdom itself. Now, by the way, this phrase King Ashwapati appears only twice in Savitri. Ashwapati appears 8 times, but King Ashwapati appears only twice. I think I got some notes here. Let's see. Now, here he is describing Nara's arrival from paradise and is descending down. And therefore, as mighty lightning streak, a glory fell nearing the rapt eyes of the sage. Sage Nara here looked out from luminous cloud and strangely limned his face, a beautiful mask of antique joy. You got it? Yeah, joy. Appearing in light, descended, where arose King Ashwapati's palace to the winds in Madra, flowering up in delicate stone. These are the only two appearances where he is called king, King Ashwapati. Now here, King Ashwapati is pertinent because he is describing the palace of Ashwapati, and Narad is coming from heaven, from the spiritual plane into the physical plane in the palace of Ashwapati, and therefore King Ashwapati. And there is a little description of Ashwapati's palace also following that you see. Now here again on our line 98.4, King Ashwapati listened to the ray. Why king is required? In other places king is not there, but why king is required here? Because Ashwapati is occupied with the activities of governance, and in spite of that he is withdrawing into meditation, into silence, and in that trance it is he who is going to receive the message. The other sound then made the sun-spawned ear on a subtle interspace with rings of a life, unlocked were the inner spirits, tranced to close the doors. So he is in a trance. He is now in the inner world. The inaudible strain in nature could be caught. So when you are in a trance position, then the inaudible strain sounds could be heard. Across the cyclic tramp of eager lives, across the deep urgency of present cares. You see, again, he's saying present cares. He is referring once more the king's duties, King Ashwapati. Present care, earth's wordless hymn to the ineffable. Earth is constantly offering prayers to the inexpressible, to the ineffable. Arose from the ardent heart of the cosmic void. Earth itself has come up, sprung up from the void, and it is from that earth is raising her voice. In fact, that is what I got here. Struck again, unfulfilled desire, what we had. It is that thing again coming here. Earth's wordless saying to the ineffable arose from the ardent heart of the cosmic void. He heard a voice repressed of unborn powers, murmuring behind the luminous bars of time. So time is shutting off those voices behind the bars of time. He is hearing that voice, repressed of unborn powers. Powers are there which are not taken birth. It is they who are holding back that voice, that sound, that command. And therefore, again, the mighty yearning raise its flame. That, because he is describing unfulfilled desire, new roots, a new creation, they are all interlinked, you see. Murmuring behind the luminous bars of time. Yeah. Again, the mighty yearning raise its flame that asks a perfect life on earth for men, and prays for certainty in the uncertain mind, and shadowless bliss for suffering human hearts, and truth embodied in an ignorant world, and Godhead divinizing mortal form. This is the yearning. In one sentence, he has described the entire sweep of yearning. What? Perfect life, then certainty of thought, then shadowless bliss, a bliss that does not carry darkness around. Truth embodied in the ignorant world, truth itself taking a body. And then, of course, Godhead divinizing mortal forms. It is that kind of a voice he is hearing already. In other words, this meditation of Ashwapati is in the context of this new creation of Godhead divinizing mortal forms, which is indicated already here. And that will happen when Savitri sets on her journey forward. And Godhead divinizing mortal form, a word that leaves from some far sky of thought. It is coming from above. The word is coming from above. Admitted with the cowed receiving scribe. Now, cowed, the monk who has got a hood on his head, he is receiving, means our brain. Our brain has a cowl of ignorance, and through that it is penetrating that voice. And brain is what after all? Brain is not the place where thought is born. Brain is only a scribe. It scripts what is given to it. Admitted by the cowed receiving crying, traveled the echoing passages of his brain and left his stamp on the recording cells. That is what happens in the case of Ashwapati in his meditation. He is silent, calm. In fact, this is exactly the description of what happens as described by Shivandu in the silent mind. When he got the experience of silent mind for the first time around 1st January 1908, he saw that the thoughts were coming from outside and they were entering into him. One could allow them to enter in, or one could stop them also. It is when they enter in you, then the brain becomes active and gives to those thoughts its own form. Now, what does Ashwapati here? We have got a complete description of that. Now, cow, I got here a small passage from Emerson. He is talking of the cow. A hooded garment, of course, worn by monks. Cowl. I like a church. I like a cowl. This is what Emerson is saying. I love a prophet of the soul, which is very good. I love a prophet of the soul. And on my heart, monastic aisles. On my heart, monastic aisles fall like sweet strains or pensive smiles. When I'm in that meditation, then they fall in my heart. Sweet strains, sweet notes of music, or pensive smile. Yet not for all his faith can be. All of us do not have that faith. Only very few can have that kind of a faith. Would I that cowed churchman be? Yes, I wish that I am also that cowed churchman who can receive the sweetness and the smile in his heart. Now, Ashwapati is receiving that kind of a thing here already at a much deeper level, of course. Now, this is important. Admitted by the cowed receiving scribe, travel the echoing passages of his brain and left a stamp on the recording cells. Now, later on, 129.9, we have a very, very elaborate description of thoughts entering into us, how where the thoughts are born. 129 on the right, second sentence. 129.9. Yeah, got it? Yeah. See, this is the description when Savitri's yoga has advanced to the stage of nirvana. She was told that She must annul herself fully. She must empty herself out fully. That only God may be. She must remove everything from her empty cup that only God may be. Now she was given instruction to follow that principle, and Savitri is now making progress in that direction. And what does Savitri see? She sees that thoughts are born elsewhere, not within us. Thoughts come from outside. Here she says there are two sources of thought. Savitri says, in our unseen subtle body, thought is born. It is the birth of thought is in our subtle body, our sukshma sharira, subtle body, sukshma causal body. It is there that the thought is born. Or there it enters from the cosmic field. The two sources of thought is our subtle body or coming from above. Now, in our subtle body, there is a long description. We'll not go into that fully. But thought is born. It can be born in our soul. It can be born in our heart. It can be born in our throat. It can be born on our brows here. Means different parts of our body, on the navel, below. Then even the limbs, the thought can take birth in the subtle body of the physical. Thought can take birth from that. The whole description follows that. Thought in our subtle body, thought is born, or there it enters from the cosmic field. Either it is born from within us, or it comes from the cosmic field. Now, this is exactly what is happening here. We are going back to 98.7. A word that leaped from the far sky of thought. So, in this case, Ashwapati, the thought is coming to Ashwapati, not from his subtle body, but from the cosmic field. In the case of Ashwapati, the thought is coming from the cosmic, a far sky of thought from above, admitted by the cowed receiving scribe. Mind, brain is only scribe receiving. Traveled the echoing passages of his brain and left his stamp on the recording cells on the physical plane. So that is the birth of thought, and we have got a very long description there. In fact, we shall see also in greater detail when we come to Savitri's yoga. But already the hint is drawn here, dropped here. See. That way, the Savitri is very consistent. I mean, one description does not go in contradiction with the description elsewhere like that, you see. Because it is a realized experience which is expressed. Now, what does Ashwapati listen? He listens not directly for himself, but it is a kind of an address to the human race. O force compelled, fate driven, earthborn race. It is addressed to the entire race itself. Force compelled. We have no freedom of our own. By some higher force, superior force, we are driven. Force compelled, fate driven. Otherwise, fate. Force coming from above. Fate, the working of nature. It is by these all our actions and movements governed. O petty adventurers in an infinite world. Yeah, the world is so vast, but after all, our adventures are small, trivial. And prisoners of a dwarf humanity. Yes, this is what we are, prisoners of dwarf humanity. How long will you trade the circling tracks of mind around your little self and petty thing? How long? How long you will continue to do the drudgery, the same routine, same kind of activities day after day? How long will you trade the circling tracks of mind? In other words, this is an indication that Savitri has to get out of the circling track of mind and open out a new path. The new dawn, the creation's front, it has to open out. That is possible only. Now, this sentence, how long will you trade the circling tracks of mind? See, this kind of a construction appears on a couple of occasions in Savitri. I got here similar constructions. How long you will trade the echoing and circling tracks of mind? Then we have got earlier. How long shall our spirits battle with the night? That is what Ashwapati is telling to the Divine Mother. How long shall our spirits battle with the night? 90.5. He is making a strong plea. 90.5. 90. He is making a very strong plea. How long shall our spirits battle with the night? And here also, how long you will trade the cycling tracks of mind? Same thing, you see. Now, in other words, the pleas Ashwapati is making, a strong plea Ashwapati is making to the Divine Mother, is repeated here in the case of Savitri. How long this will go on? There has to be a change. There has to be a forward movement. In fact, this kind of a construction appears on two or three other places also. I will just read them here. I got them here noted. How long shall our spirits battle with the night? Then there is another one. But how shall a few escaped release the world? How shall a few escape? Yes, you may attain great siddhis, you may go into nirvana or attain immortality. All right, but then what happens to the rest of the world? How shall a few escape from the clutches of this ignorance? Release the world from ignorance. It cannot happen. How shall come the glory and the flame? That is our kind of a question is asking. Yes, we want that glory and flame. How shall it come? So here also again the same question is repeated. How long you will trade the circling tracks of mind? Yes, you are a mental being, Manomaya Purusha, but you have to now go beyond that. That is the indication. Beyond Manomaya Purusha, you have to make advance towards Vijnanamaya Purusha, from mental being to supermanhood. But not for a chainless littleness were you meant, surely not for that purpose. It is not for smallness, for pettiness that you were born, not for vain repetition were you built. See, he says built. You see, man was built for a certain purpose. He was created for a certain purpose. Out of the immortal substance you were made. If you are born of immortal substance, then how long will you remain circling in these tracks of mind, on the tracks of mind? Your actions can be swift, revealing steps. Your life a changeful mold for growing gods. So that is self is what the voice is telling to Ashwapatri in his meditation. A greater destiny waits you in your front. This transient earthly being, if he wills, can fit his acts to a transcendent scheme. Huh? Oh yeah, I missed that. Yeah, okay. Your life a changeful mold for growing God. A seer, a strong creator is within. The immaculate grandeur broods upon your days. Almighty powers are shut in nature's cells. Well, the voice is telling, look, everything is locked within you. Let them open out. Let them come out. Let the seer become awake and let him see. He is there within you. The strong creator is within him, within you. Let him come out and conquer all the difficulties. The almighty powers are shut in nature's cells. Let them again open out. A greater destiny, when the strong seer comes out, when the grandeur opens out, when the almighty powers work in nature's cells, then a greater destiny is fulfilled. This transient earthly being, if he wills, can fit his acts to a transcendent scheme. The connection between what is in time and what is beyond time, that can be established if the transient, if the human race, man, can understand that, if he wills. Now, that does not mean that you need not have the higher power to come and wake you up. If I will, then things should change. If we awake, then things should happen. Now, it means that it is a kind of a preparation. A newborn, if a new dawn has to come, that preparation is required. It is the real difficulty which is there in the scheme of things, of death and ignorance. It is that which we cannot will to go away. It is beyond our capacity, however great our capacities might be. It is only the divine Shakti who, as a mortal being here, can will and conquer. But here, human race can prepare itself, moving in the direction. A greater destiny waits you in your front. This transient earthly being, if he wills, can fit his acts to a transcendent scheme. He who now stares at the world with ignorant eyes. This is what we do. We all look at the world with ignorant eyes. Hardly from the inconscious night aroused. We have just come out from the night of inconscience. That look at images and not at truth. We have no idea of the truth at all. We cannot see the truth also, even if we want to look into it. Can fill those orbs with an immortal sight. Our eyes can receive that immortal light. Yet shall the Godhead grow within your heart. You shall awake into the Spirit's air. Now, this is something being told to Ashwapati in his trance. In the context of Savitri, who is a human Savitri. It is that human Savitri who has to awaken herself to these possibilities. Her sight, her soul has to come out and receive. Yet shall the Godhead grow within your hearts. In other words, this is indirectly telling, yes, Savitri's heart should grow to their Godhead. She has taken human birth. She is human Savitri. You shall awake into the Spirit's air. Savitri must awake into the Spirit's air and feel the breaking walls of mortal mind and hear the message which left life's heart dumb, and look through nature with sun-gazing lids and blow your conch shell at the eternal's gate. Authors of earth's high change, to you it is given, to the human race. It is given to you. To cross the dangerous spaces of the soul, you have to cross the dangerous and touch the mighty mother's stark awake and meet the omnipotent in his house of flesh, in this house of flesh, and make of life the million-bodied one. It is she who has to multiply in million bodies, the omnipotent force. The earth you tread is a border screened from heaven. The life you lead conceals the light you are. Yes, there is a greater life in you. You are not aware of it. It is hidden within you. Immortal powers sweep flaming past your doors. They come across your doors, past your door. Far off upon your tops, the God chant sounds. While to exceed ourselves, yourself, thoughts trumpets call, heard by a few, but fewer dare aspire. The nympholepts of the ecstasy and the blaze, you are the one who will seize the nymphs of ecstasy and bliss. That is the power, that is the capacity, that is the potential you have got. Heard by a few, but fewer dare aspire. Yes, that is a possibility open to you. An epic of hope and failure breaks Earth's heart. Her force and will exceed her form and fate. A goddess in a net of inconscient caught, that is what Earth is. Spellbound in the pastures of death, she dreams of life. She is moving in the fields of death and dreaming of life. Self-racked with the pains of hell, aspires to joy. Racked, these were the instruments of torture. During the Inquisition, they devised instruments of torture, and rack was one of them. So you have your leg, stretch your legs on the track, and then make roll something on that thing, kind of press up and down. So these were the instruments which were built at the time of Inquisition. You see. Galileo was shown those instruments, you see, and he got frightened. Spellbound in the pleasures of death, she dreams of life. Self-racked with the pains of hell, aspires to joy, and builds to hope her altars of despair. Knows that one high step might enfranchise all. Yes, it is that which will give freedom. It is that which will make you the citizens of a greater world. Know that one high step might enfranchise all, and suffering looks for greatness in her sons. But dim in human hearts the ascending fire. Unfortunately, the fire is not kindled well in our souls. The invisible grandeur sits unworshipped there. No puja is offered that, no worship is done there for the grandeur. Man sees the highest in a limiting form, or looks upon a person, hears a name. He only goes by name and form, and it is only to that extent he is limited, you see. See, we had this, the immaculate grandeurs brood upon your days, and here you have got the invisible grandeur sits unworshipped there. He turns for little gains to ignorant powers. Yes, we please lesser gods, the vital gods. Offer him pujas, offer him all kind of things there to get immediate returns. He turns for little gains to ignorant powers. And what do you want? Yes, my son is ill, please make him healthy. My son is going to appear for an examination, give him some blessing so that he passes the examination. These are the kind of little gains we ask from little gods. Or kindles his altar lights to a demon face. We don't know whom we are worshipping. Whether he is a demon or real God, we don't know that. You see. He loved the ignorance, fathering his pain. Yes, we are in love with our own ignorance, and it is that ignorance which is the source of our pain. A spell is laid upon his glorious strength. He has strength in him, but there is a dark spell. Some kind of a magic is working, which is preventing him doing things what he should do. He has lost the inner voice that led his thoughts, and masking the oracular tripod scene, a spacious idol fills the marble shrine. So all the lesser gods, it is they whom we worship. The great illusion wraps him in its veils. So we are really living under the veils of illusion. The soul's deep intimations come in vain. Sometimes we do get intimations from the soul, but we dismiss them. We have no faith in them. We have not developed the faculty to discern the truth of what we are receiving from them. In vain is the unending line of seers. In vain is the unending line of seers. The sages ponder in unsubstantial light. The poets lend their voice to outward dreams. A homeless fire inspires the prophet tongues. So this is the pity. Our poets, our seers, our sages, our prophets, they cannot lead man to a brighter, higher, nobler future. Now this is the state. People have come and gone. This line, in vain is the unending line of seers. Seers have come through the ages, spiritual seers. But what happened finally? We are only there where we have been all along. This line is very similar to another line which appears little later on, 140:26. It's a very sarcastic line, but it is there. 140 to 6.6, 140. The avatars have lived and died in vain. Hmm. We have got a series of 10 avatars, they have come and gone. But what happened? The world is the same miserable world, full of suffering, pain, anguish, ignorance, death. The avatars have lived and died in vain. Vain were the sages' thought, the prophet's voice. In vain is seen the shining upward way. Now, this is a sarcastic narrative of death. Death is telling to Savitri, Savitri, you are looking for this change, this world. People I come, great people I come, but they have not been able to achieve anything at all. Vain they have come and lived. In vain they come and lived here. Sages thought, prophet's voice, they are not achieved anything at all. It is exactly the same thing what we have got here also. In vain is the unending line of seers. The sages ponder in unsubstantial light, light that doesn't have substance, solidity, content. In vain is the unending line of seers. The sages ponder in unsubstantial light. The poets lend their voice to outward dream. A homeless fire inspired the prophet tongue. Yeah, the fire which has no dwelling place here at all. It is that comes and inspires the prophet. But ultimately, it is not able to live here at all, you see. Heaven's flaming lights descend and back return. This is the calamity. This is the sad story. This is the tragedy of this creation. Yes, heaven's light does come, but then again it goes back. In fact, that is how the whole thing started. There was the divine attempt. It tried to change the whole thing, but it could not. Ultimately, Savitri had to take the mortal birth. And it is the same context here. Heaven's flaming light descend and back return. The luminous eye approaches and retires. Means he is telling, basically, the voice is telling to Ashapati in his meditation that all the attempts have been futile and things have to move forward. The luminous eye approaches and retires. Eternity speaks, none understands its word. Fate is unwilling and the abyss denies. Fate is not able to accept the possibility of a change. And of course, there is the strongest negation from the abyss, from the nether world. The inconscious, mindless waters block all done. That is why vain is the ending line of seers. In vain have the avatars come and gone. Only a little is lifted. Only a little lifted is mind's screen. All that they have been able to achieve is slightly raise the curtain of mind and allow a little bit of intimation, revelation, or inspiration to enter in. Beyond that, nothing has been really achieved, anything of worth. Only a little lifted his mind's screen. The wise who know see but one half of truth. They have been able to see the other part of the truth, that truth. But what about the truth which should be here? That truth they have no about that they have no idea at all. The wise who know see but one half of truth. The strong climb hardly to a low peaked height. The hearts that yearn are given 1 hour to love. Yes, that's all you have to do. Whatever love you want to do in 1 hour and get out. That's what it means basically. See. The hearts that yearn are given 1 hour to love. His tale, half told, falters the secret bard. The bard is not able to sing the full story. He is faltering to complete the story of man because only half truth is given. The other half is there only. But here there is no truth at all. Therefore, the bard himself falters. The gods are still too few in mortal form. They do enter, they do work to some extent in us, but there are very few gods who can do that. The gods are still too few in mortal form. We have got a very similar line, 1130. 1130. Seldom in the few who answer you. Gods are few. Too seldom is a shadow of what must come. See, what must come is really great, but what happens? Very few. Cast in an instant on the secret sense. Secret sense, again, you see the same connotation there, secret sense, which feel the shock of the invisible, and seldom in the few who answer give, very few can give the answer to that, prepared. The mighty process of the cosmic will communicates its magic to our sight, identifying the world's mind with ours. See, the seldom that thing is happening here again. Also, it's the same thing. The gods are still too few in mortal form. In other words, unless the gods really establish themselves, the full potential which is there within us cannot flower out, cannot open out, cannot come out, cannot emerge. Only a little lifted is mind's screen. The wise who know see but one half of truth. The strong climb hardly to a low peaked height. The hearts that yearn are given 1 hour to love. His tale, half told, falters the secret bard. The gods are still too few in mortal form. Well, this is what Ashwapati hears in his trance, in his meditation. And then from that point onward, the voice withdrew into hidden skies. Then the story develops further. I think we'll stop with that.